this is BlueNotary.us, and in this video, we're going to be going over how to notarize a handwritten document. So this is something that you're going to see more often when you're out in the field doing in-person notarizations, but it's also something that you could see online if somebody were to handwrite a document, take a picture with their phone, and then initiate an online notarization session with you. So let's go over some of the facts about this. Number one is if you are doing this in person, before you go over to their house and start helping them with this notarization, you need to check on what kind of document it is you're going to be notarizing. So the reason for this is because certain documents are going to require a witness, and you want to make sure that you have a witness present. You don't want to drive all the way over there and then find out that they don't have a witness and you just wasted a bunch of time and gas. So, for example, in Florida, power of attorneys and wills both require 2 witnesses in order to be able to be notarized. So if you're doing an online notarization, you can just come up here to menu and click add, remove witnesses, and you can call a BlueNotary on-demand witness for your session if you so need this and they were not prepared to bring their own. If they did bring their own or you have your own on your end, you can add a new witness right here. Okay, so once you've confirmed that this is a document that doesn't need 2 witnesses, let's talk about the things that you need to check for this document. So number one, the main thing is you need to check that their name on the document, person who signed it, matches the ID card that is presented to you. If you're doing this in person, they're just going to show you the ID card. But if you did this online, you come up here to menu, check participant ID and status, and you're going to see their document right here. Make sure it matches, make sure it's gone through ID verification, and it's been passed by either KBA or biometrics, depending on your state and authentication type that you chose. And if it's passed both of these, you're going to be good to go and proceed with the notarization itself. If you are doing this online, you can come over to the chat box in the bottom right-hand corner, click on Chat with BlueNotary Support, come up to Help, and click on the script for live notarization calls. You can follow along with this as it's specific to your state, and make sure you're saying everything that you need to say in order for a remote online notarization session to be valid. So this is our document here. It says, I, John Doe, live at 542 West Concord Avenue, Chicago, Illinois, 60611. I pay $2,000 rent each month on a month-to-month basis to Hales Property Management. This is just an example of what kind of document you might see. And right here, we've got the signer's signature. So what's missing here is your notarial wording, also known as your loose leaf certificate or your notary stamp. So if you're out in person, you're either going to need to write in this notarial wording yourself, or if you have a notary stamp, you can stamp in this notarial wording, and it's just like adding this notarial certificate. So on BlueNotary US, you can come in, click Add Notary Certificate. We're going to be doing this under Florida guidelines. So this is a notary certificate for the state of Florida. And you're going to come and fill in this information. So as you can see, if I stretch this out, it's kind of covering up part of the document. So one way around fixing this is you're going to come to Menu. You're going to come to Add a Blank Page, Add a New Page. I like to move these over to the second half of the document or the end of the document. You're just going to add a blank page in right here. Now we can add in that same notary certificate as before. So this is an acknowledgement in an individual capacity. And for these, you're usually going to be issuing either an acknowledgement or a jurat. And you're going to need to fill in your information here. So this is the state of Florida, County of Leon. We're going to say I am in Tallahassee for this. You're going to need to fill in your date. You can use this date tool, drag and drop this over. And we want just the short year only. Just like this. Drag this up. And you're going to put in the name of the person acknowledging. So in this case, it is Bruce Notary. So I'm going to come in, drag this name here, and it's going to be set up as this one. Since this is the session simulator, it just says BlueNotary user, but normally it'll have your name as the notary. I'm going to put in my name as the notary. Bruce Notary, just like that. Next, we need to add the notary signature and the notary name. And so I'm just going to put in this notary name. Drag in this notary name. And I'm also going to put in a signature. Signature is going to be that for Bruce Notary right here. You can draw your signature, type it, or upload it. If you're there in person, obviously, you're just going to sign your signature just like this, Bruce Notary. And then we also need to add our notary seal. Before we do that, let's check off if this is somebody who's personally known to me or if they produce identification and the type of identification produced. We're going to use the checkmark tool, say that this produced identification, and we'll say that this was a driver's license. Just like this. Next, we're going to add this seal in here. You can make this a little bit smaller. And if you're doing this online, you're going to have this wording that this was notarized online using audio video communication. This is necessary and a requirement for your state. So once you have this, you're going to be good to go. Depending on the type of document you're doing, your signer is going to need to sign the document in front of you. But there are situations where it wouldn't matter if the signer signed before. It's always best to check with your state SOS and consult your state notary handbook or SOS guidelines. You can also always call and reach out to your SOS as well. Okay, so this is what it would look like for this kind of a document. But again, you're not confirming whether the information here is true or not. But as I mentioned before, there are a couple kind of documents where it does matter as to the contents of the document itself. So let's take a look at one of these, for example. Let's go to upload a new document here. And this is going to be a parental consent form. Okay, so this is a parental consent form. Depending on your state, this is going to be the kind of document that requires having two witnesses because it's similar to a power of attorney in that you are basically giving somebody else the responsibility of being the guardian of that individual. Now, if you look here, it's got signature lines for a couple different people. This is just a handwritten document, but we've got I, John Doe, give permission for Jessica Clements to have temporary guardianship for my son, Jimmy Doe, until September 1st, 2024. Now, the main person that needs to sign this is John Doe. If Jessica Clements is there as well, it's great if she can sign it as well. But Jimmy Doe is not somebody that needs to sign it as they are the child in this situation. They're the person who requires the guardian. They are not the person bearing responsibility. As I mentioned, you're probably also going to need to provide lines for the witnesses here. So saying we need two witnesses for this session, let's come in and drag a text line. And it's not enough just to have our witnesses sign. They also need to have their printed name underneath the line where they're signing. So you might add two lines here and put witness name one. You'd print the actual witness's name here. So let's just say it's Michael Clearly is the name of witness number one. Then you would put witness number two right next to it. Another example of a document where somebody could need two witnesses but not think they are, say it says something along the lines of, this document is to ensure that upon my death, my 1992 Toyota Corolla is passed on to so-and-so. So they might not know that this is actually part of a will, but it is part of a will. So if you're in the state of Florida, it's going to require you to have at least two witnesses for this document. If you're in another state with similar laws, you're going to need to follow those guidelines. So again, always best to consult your notary handbook or state SOS guidelines. So when your session is complete, it's got everybody's signatures down. It's got your signatures down as the notary, the notarial wording. It's got your notary seal down. Then you are going to finish the session. I'm going to come over here in this BlueNotary app to come to menu and complete session. And then this document is going to be exported for you, exported for the signer. The digital certificate is going to be automatically encrypted inside. So if anybody saves over it, it'll be obvious that this has been tampered with. And you are good to go with your notarization of this handwritten document. So if you found this tutorial helpful, please follow along, like, and subscribe. We've got plenty more useful information on notarization and online notarization on the way. If you're looking to practice like this, you can do so over at BlueNotary.us. Just come over to the top right-hand corner and click sign up, and you can feel free to reach out if you have any questions about anything in the bottom right-hand corner with our customer success team.